Excellent. Welcome, everybody. We have a very special guest as we dive into a very important topic. Yes, the second most essential nutrient to life. We're going to be talking about water, and we have James Roberts from Northern Water Cleaners. First, I think we're going to dive into, what are, I'm just going to call it like the threats, to our water. And I first want to foremost say, we have incredible water in Calgary, and you still want to do something to it. So James is going to share about what are some of those things that we want to remove out of our water to get back to the ultimate purified state. And then he's going to talk about the system that we chose at Light Cellar to be able to do that. So welcome, James. Thanks for being on the call with us here this evening.
Hey, good evening. Welcome. Thanks for having me here. I know water is very, very important, but it's not overly exciting, I've discovered over the years. People just don't get excited about it because, we've grown up and we've always, especially if you've been in Calgary or the West out here, pretty good water throughout your life. But again, what you mentioned is what are the threats to it? And, even though we have some of the best water in the entire world, there's still issues with it because of the ever-increasing demand on it and different things like that. So we'll just get at her, and I'll let you know what's there. I think the number one issue with municipal water is the chlorine.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, totally. Now I gotta hand it. We need to put chlorine in the water so that it doesn't kill us. Just drinking straight out of a pond nowadays. That's a risky business because you just don't know what's going in on there, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But the city
I think in our municipal water system, it's coming in, into our tap system the first time round, whereas there's other cities where that water, before it goes back through the hydrological cycle and gets filtered by earth, goes through water treatment plants and then straight back through to someone else's tap. So you better hope they got a damn good filter on there, because
you better hope so. We're pretty fortunate here because there's a lot of cities that are having a lot of problems with their water filtration, aging infrastructure, and cities just can't keep up. So we've discovered that over the last decade or so, more and more contaminants are sneaking through the water treatment plants, and so for that matter, they're putting more and more chlorine into the water. And so that's becoming an issue. They're killing one thing, but they're adding something that is not healthy at all for us in the long run. So chlorine is the number one that we get. But recent studies have shown that more and more we're getting, especially out here in Alberta and in farmland and in ranchland, is we're getting a lot of pesticides. We're getting a lot of herbicides. We're getting a lot of organic matter, between Calgary and Medicine Hat, there's about 500,000 cows. And so a lot of that gets into the ground, seeps into the ground, and will eventually get into the river system where we get our water from. And so what happens is if you get organic matter from animals, from live organisms, and you mix it with chlorine, now all of a sudden you're getting a cancer-causing, what it's called, the trihalomethane. So they're trying to get our water safe, but on the other end, it's making it a little more damaging. And secondly is pharmaceuticals. That's a big business nowadays, and there's a lot of everybody's taking a med for something, right? And so people will either dump pharmaceuticals down the drain, or when they go to the bathroom, it leaves their body that way and gets into the system. So we're looking at more pharmaceuticals, more organic material, more chlorine, more all sorts of stuff that is just getting in there, and aging water treatment systems just aren't able to handle it.
Yeah, no, it's so true. You hit a couple of incredible points there. Most notably, I think probably one of the biggest sources of pollution that no one is talking about is exactly what you say. The number of people on pharmaceutical medication, just keeps increasing every year. And you're absolutely right. It just passes through the body, like chemotherapy drugs, like you name it, birth control pills.
Yeah.
A lot of that just ends up getting flushed down the toilet into the system. And yeah, I mean, I would almost guarantee that there's not a filter on the other end that's taken that out. And
not a bit.
Yeah, people have just relied on kind of government infrastructure, their local municipality to kind of provide this essential nutrient for life without taking responsibility for it coming through their taps and into their body. And, a friend of mine, he's got a saying, he says, get a filter or become the filter.
Exactly. And that's the thing is our bodies aren't designed to filter these synthetic drugs, these synthetic things, or these combinations of things that are just coming now. We can't really filter chlorine out, and for kids that are growing their organs, they can't filter it, and it starts to slowly destroy them even before they get to puberty, even before they get to adulthood. Pharmaceuticals, they're finding, especially in young girls, how these pharmaceuticals are starting to change their hormone balance. And so they're starting to get issues before, they even hit puberty, different things like that. And so, there's not a whole lot of discussion out there about it. And a lot of people just go, my water's fine. It's okay. I'll let the chlorine dissipate. I do this, I do that. But there can be up to 110,000 different chemicals in any given water sample.
Right. Wow. Shocking.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And one thing I didn't mention was, I mentioned about the cows and the organic matter is now cities are starting to get overloaded in their infrastructure, and they're starting to dump raw sewage into rivers where other cities get their water supply from.
Yeah, totally. And, we did mention a little bit about Calgary. Like, we're pretty close to the source. We have incredible water, but there are several municipalities, upstream of us for sure. There are plenty downstream of us too. So
yeah, like Edmonton dumped a whole bunch 2 years ago.
Right. Wow.
The big one was Montreal about 3 or 4 years ago, dumped 15 billion liters of raw sewage.
Wow.
So cities, as they grow, they can't handle it. Their systems are aging. And so our water is starting to degrade, and we're the only ones that can do something about it.
Yeah, because, even another point, and I think probably the States is worse than Canada, but depending on the age of the city, right? Like infrastructure of municipal water, the piping, coming from the water treatment plant to your house, what are those pipes made of? How old are they? How well maintained are they? Our water has to pass through all that, picking up, who knows what before it gets to the tap.
Exactly. And like you said, Calgary, we're pretty fortunate. There's not a whole lot of lead lines left in the city. There's probably about a dozen communities that have lead lines coming into their homes. But other than that, we don't. But you look at a city like Toronto, where a third has lead lines because they're old. Montreal is old. You get other cities that are old, and the infrastructure is just not there to change it. We're fortunate that way, but still, you don't know, and what they're putting in, we don't know. Here's a little anecdotal story: is I have a few customers who work at the water treatment plant.
Right, it's true.
And they know they're doing what they can, but they know that it's not. In the long run, it's not going to be healthy for you.
Right.
And the vast majority of our body is water. What is it? Right? And so we need water. We need good, clean, healthy water because, it lubricates our joints. It helps deliver oxygen through the body. If we're not getting that clean, healthy water, it's gonna affect us in more ways than one, Skin and beauty, our eczema, asthma, right? When we shower in chlorinated water, we're breathing chlorine vapor, and that's getting into lungs, and it's irritating, right? We need
Yeah.
what we need water to maintain good blood pressure, right? We get wonky blood pressure, we start taking blood pressure pills, and then it just starts the cycle again with pharmaceuticals. So, there's a
Yeah.
lot of reasons.
I know you started off saying, water's not sexy, but we know we know how foundational it is. And
It is.
I'm fortunate. I come from a family where both my parents, if you ask them, what is your favorite beverage in the world to drink, they will actually tell you water.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
unusual.
it is. It's very unusual, and I'm
Mhm.
fortunate to have grown up in that
Yeah.
environment where the drink of choice always is water. And I know, just like you said, that's unique. That's not the case. A lot of people don't appreciate water,
No.
or yeah, B, the quality of it, depending where you're at. I mean, I've done a lot of traveling, especially throughout the States and even to other parts of the world where, I get it. I mean, it's like going to Florida. It's like, whoa, I guess I'm going to dry fast here, like just the smell of it. I poured some out of the tap, and I was like, whoa, I can't even bring that up to my lips. And then the unfortunate thing is, we're showering in that too. So even if I'm going out and I'm buying bottled water, which I don't love to do by any means, it's the showering is another influence as well.
It is. It is. And with our system, I'll get a little bit in our system here, is we're a whole home system. So we do everything. We come in on the main water, we filter, we clean the water to the entire house. And it's not just a drinking station where somewhere, it's just not on the counter, but it's the whole house. So it's your showering, it's your bathing, it's your cooking in the kitchen, it's in your dishwasher, it's in your laundry. It's in your hot water tank, and so less chemicals helps your water tank last longer. There's less chemical buildup on your plates and dishes and silverware and glasses in your dishwasher. And so when you bake chlorinated water onto a plate, and then you put hot food onto it, well, now that's going to start to leach into the food. So it's people don't realize it. People don't, research it or look at it, but chlorine is everywhere. And, if you don't get it out before it gets into your house, it'll get into everything. It gets into the fabric of your clothes. So when you sweat, your workout clothes, well, what happens? You got chlorines in the fibers, and now that's going to sit on your body too. So a lot of times we just think about it as drinking, but it's not just drinking. It's every facet of your life.
Yeah, for sure. So James he's going to be talking a little bit about a solution that he's got that both Laura and I, so my wife, did a ton of research because, for the longest time, I mean, I've been a water snob, and I'm a little less so now, in terms of kind of middle path, but literally for a number of years, I didn't drink any water out of the tap. Didn't matter, regardless, even if I had a filter on it, whatever. It was like, no, it's got to be spring water, directly right out of the ground. And to me, that's still kind of such an ultimate experience. And in the early days of Light Cellar, we were doing, small enough volumes that I would get some for myself and I'd get some for the shop. And then that proved very quickly to be not sustainable. So, just there's only so many 5-gallon jugs I could fill per week and bring them back to the store. And then we started getting, bottled spring water, and that was good. But again, just the consumption level that we were going through was just unsustainable. And we were having a trouble at our house where, okay, great, we got this wonderful, beautiful spring water to drink with, but what about our cooking water? And then especially, what about our bathing water? We were buying filter after filter, those little bath bombs and the shower filters, and, constantly having to replace them. And we love the idea. It's like, man, if we could just get like a really good filter on our home, and then we just forget about it. Like it's done. It's all set up. And so she did a bunch of research, and she came across the company Northern Water Cleaners, and that's who James represents. And so they've got this incredible filter, four, I don't want to call it stages, but we'll let you talk about it anyway.
Sure.
It's kind of the, the function, how does it work? But the end result is, I love drinking the tap water. It's
Well,
actually,
good.
it tastes good, it feels good, and it's what we use at home personally as well as at the shop. And when you kind of make that move, make that shift, suddenly you can have peace of mind. At least I could, in terms of like, no problem. Like, turn on the taps. I actually love it. I enjoy it. I can cook with it. We can bathe with it, and gardening. I'm really big into gardening, and I try and rain harvest as much as I can, but the rest, to kind of supplement, it's right out the tap. So I've also got that peace of mind too, that it's also purified. So let's get into this filter and what makes it unique. Why do I love it so much, and what is it doing for us and for our water?
Okay. No, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we've been at your shop about 7 years now, I think.
Yeah,
So
it's been a while for sure.
it has been. It's going really good, and we appreciate that. It's fantastic. So what our filter is we worked with Health Canada for about a dozen years to get this filter set to the point where we can actually get it out on the market, because you need a Health Canada stamp especially with water filtration, because the big thing with water filtration is bacteria buildup. Okay, and so there's many systems out there. You need extra filters, you need to back flush, you need to change filters. There's a brine that you have to be aware of, and all this and that. But so the founder of the company, his name's Ernie Butler, who designed this system, worked with Health Canada extensively, and we have a self-contained unit now where it kills bacteria on contact, and there's no extra filters to change. So you put it on your main water and you leave it there. You don't have, there's no electricity to run a motor to backflush. There's no extra fiber filters or paper filters that you need to change, where they can degrade or they could split and then the brine gets back into the water. We don't have any of that. It's all self-contained within the container, which is about 44 inches high and 8 inches in diameter. So it's like some people say, it's like a huge Brita filter.
Right. I mean, it almost looks like a giant oxygen tank or helium tank or something like that.
Yeah, and that's it. And so what we do with that is that we fill it up with multi-layers, multi-stages of either granulated activated carbon or catalytic carbon. Okay. Now, catalytic carbon, you put a positive charge on there, and what it does, it actually magnetically or electrically attracts pesticides and chemicals that aren't supposed to be in the water. And so what we do is we filter out the things that aren't supposed to be in the water. And it's just pure science. That's all it is. Just straight up science that you work through with varying types of carbon, different stages, different type, the whole bit. And so what we do is we remove chemicals and pharmaceuticals and things that should not be in the water. And then we leave nutrients that are in the water. Some systems, what they do is they strip everything out of the water, and they leave you virtually with dead water. If you have to take a drink of that, your body's still going, hey, I'm thirsty, I need something to drink, right? Where this is your H2O nutrient rich water that your body needs. And that's what we do. And that's all we do. That's all we do. We only do water.
Let's talk about that just for a quick second, because I'm thinking about, the two most common ones are, reverse osmosis, distilled. And I know both of those, I mean, there's a lot of waste, right? So with distilled water, it takes a ton of energy. With reverse osmosis as well, tons of wastage in product. I don't know how many liters or gallons you end up wasting per 1 gallon of pure water. And just like you mentioned, it's so stripped down, it becomes too aggressive of a water because it's in such an unnatural state. It wants to rebalance itself. And there's a bunch of studies by the World Health Organization kind of advising against using that as your main drinking water.
Yes.
Distilled water for sure is fantastic as a solvent, right? Because it's so hungry, it wants to pull. And there's definitely a time and a place for distilled water, but not as your everyday drinking water.
No, just distilled water is the type that if that's all you have and that's all you can get, then yes, get it. But if you can do any other type of water, then yeah, do it, because over the long run, distilled water is not going to be overly healthy for you. And as far as reverse osmosis, again, it really leaves nothing in the water. And yeah, you're right. It does waste a ton of water to the point where actually India last year, was it last year or the year before, banned reverse osmosis.
Oh, wow.
Because it's wasting too much water and they're running out of water.
Right.
So here in Canada, we're like, man, we got enough water for forever, but there's a lot of countries that don't. And so they're really getting in on technology that is going to save water. And with Northern Water Cleaners, we have cleaners around the world. We have some in Africa, we have some in the Caribbean, in Asia. So we're starting to get out there because people see the value of it, of the fact that it's a self-contained unit that not only will kill bacteria, but remove all the harmful chemicals and that you don't need. So that's what we do, and that's all we do. We don't do anything else. We don't sell appliances. We don't, do this or that. We just do water. And so, we've been doing it for, oh my goodness, I think Ernie's been at it for 40 years.
Right.
And so it's getting there. And so with our self-contained unit, which is really nice, because with a lot of water filtration, you go in, you buy the unit, and you get maybe a year's limited warranty, maybe 2, whatever it is. And then after a while, when it's used up, you have to go buy another one. You have to lay a lot of cash. Well, what we work as, and this with yours, is a lease maintenance agreement. And so what we'll do, everything has a shelf life. Everything is going to run out. And so we've designed these cleaners to last about 5 years in your normal household, in an average household. And it's a monthly lease payment. But with that lease payment is we have 100% guarantee. So that if something goes wrong, and this, if you called me up and said, James, my water's not doing well over here at the store, I'll come over and I'll change the unit out. No charge. Give you a brand new one and carry on. Because, we're a family business, family-owned business out of Moose Jaw, small town. So our big thing is we want people to have clean, healthy water for their families. And that's why it was designed, because Moose Jaw has terrible water. Right. And so that's why Ernie originally designed it, was because of there. And now it's worldwide. So that's what we do. And so with this cleaner, we put it in and you leave it, and we'll take care of about 100% for you.
Yeah, and it goes, you install it right after the intake of the pipe coming into your house. So as soon as the water comes in, you stick that thing on there, and then boom, you're done. Every tap, every little bit of water flowing through your house is now filtered.
Yeah, and that's kind of our company slogan, is clean, healthy water to every tap in your home. Even your toilet.
Yeah, which actually a friend of mine, he's big into permaculture, and he pulls all these kind of like just unique random facts every once in a while as his teaching. And it's a few months ago, so I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had some stat around the amount of chlorine that emits just from your toilet water alone. That kind of like, just leaching into the house. Sure,
because you just got gallons of water sitting there.
Yeah, and we know chlorine is a volatile gas, so as it sits there, it does evaporate off into the air. So
it does dissipate off into the air. So yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, cool.
I've got a few things here, but you know what? We've discussed a lot.
Yeah, totally. Why I like to kind of have you on, and we've had you present at the at Light Cellar before, in-house, in person, and we will again, because it's always such a topic, right? People are like, what do you recommend for a filter? And, this is what I recommend. So it's always good to have James on to be able to kind of, share more in depth about it. And if you guys have any questions, just post them down below. We got a couple here that we'll get into. And yeah, it really is just kind of a service, wanting to let people know, okay, from the research that I've done, here's what I've found. And I know so many people that have gone ahead and done that, and are very happy with their system.
They are, and we appreciate that. We get a lot of referrals from you too. So, your staff is talking it up as well.
Yeah, cool. Well,
this is great. So
speaks for itself. So
It does. It's, you know what? It's a basic building block. There's not a whole lot of deviation from it. It's, you know what? We take out things that shouldn't be in and we leave the things that should be. It's, you know, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple.
yeah. Okay. So here's a question for you. You know,
Yes, sir.
we're in Calgary, and depending on the municipality, some have fluoride, some don't. You know, it totally just blows my mind that this is now back on the table to be debated. And you know, Nancy has said that if he gets back in, doesn't matter, he's going to add fluoride, you know, back, you know, day one almost of his next term. So we'll see what happens there. But what do we do when it comes to fluoride? Right now, it's not in our water, but it's something that, you know, has been and might be back in again.
Edmonton has fluoride. So our system as it sits now takes out about 80% of the fluoride because there is naturally occurring fluoride in water, which is okay. But the stuff that they add is not good for drinking. In fact, the CDC recommends you don't drink it. But so what we have is we have a standalone filter that'll add on down the line that will take out the rest of the fluoride. So with our system and this little add-on, we can take out
CDC recommends you don't drink it.
99 point something percent of fluoride. So we bring it right down to virtually nothing. But our current cleaner now takes it down to the Canadian government acceptable levels of fluoride.
Right.
So we have those two. So some people like them. Some people want the secondary as well. But we can provide that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know. 80% covered. And then if you want to go all the way, just a little add-on. So we have a couple questions, you know, about cost and then, you know, website. So let's start to get into those details. So you did mention, so, you know, what we have is we got the big giant tank, depending, and I'll just kind of share from my experience and then you can kind of fill in the details from there. So you got this big giant tank and minimum lasts you 5 years, just depends on how much you're using. And obviously, you know, as a business, I go through, I don't know what the number, you know, double, 10 times, you know, the volume of water on a commercial space than I do at home. So, you know, you can really kind of customize there. And in terms of, I believe you do have different sizes of filters. We kind of got the standard one. And then there is an option too to kind of buy it outright too. And you get a little bit of a discount versus the lease. But I know for a lot of people, you know, as serious a system as it is, like, you know, the couple grand that it is, that's hard to lay out front. And so, you know, we've done it where we just pay every month and it makes it super manageable. And I mean, the cost savings just in kind of peace of mind alone and not having to do like, okay, we need a filter for this tap and then we need one on the shower and then one for the bath. And they really only do, they don't nearly do as good of a job as this. So it's been totally worth it for us. So we pay $50 a month for that. And then if one did want to buy it outright, I believe you get like 10% off from the total cost.
Yeah, and it's not buying it outright because, again, like I'll say, it has a shelf life. And so what we don't want to say to somebody is, yeah, go ahead and buy it and then call us in 20 years because that just is not going to be good. But what it is, again, it's a 5-year lease that you can prepay if you wish, and you save some money that way because it gets to a point where we would rather you not have it than have a degraded system where bacteria may start to develop and different things like that.
Right. And that reminds me actually, so the kind of, so we got these various stages of carbon, and then you said there's this antimicrobial property that, you know, kills the bad bacteria you don't want. Yeah. I believe that's iodine based, correct?
It is. It's crystallized iodine. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so I've got another customer who installed this at her home, and before she was taking iodine drops as a supplement. And then she said she stopped as soon as she got the water filter in. This is one of the indications, you know, when you do the iodine topically is that, you know, you put it anywhere on your skin and it's a way to monitor how quickly it's getting absorbed is a reflection of how much your body needs it. And I did the experiment myself recently. I haven't taken iodine as a supplement for years. And I thought, you know, I remember when I used to take it, it would absorb pretty quick. And I put the iodine on my skin and it sat there for a long time. I was like, okay, I guess I'm topped up.
Fantastic. Yes, I think I know who you're talking about. We had a lengthy discussion about that. Yes, and so that's one of the benefits as well. Iodine is good for you in its doses, and we have that as well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it serves a couple purposes, which is great.
Yeah. All right. So one can get the home filter. How about if you're in a condo or you've got an RV or anything like that? How does that work?
So what we have a mini one. It's 17 inches. Now with a condo, there's usually no main water inlet. So what we do is we put it on the cold water under the kitchen sink. So all your drinking water will be filtered through that. But we also have the shower filters. Now what we do is we'll actually come in and change your shower head because ours has a chlorine puck in it. Right, it's got a chlorine cartridge in it. That's changeable. You change them out maybe once a year, twice a year, and we can get those for you. They're not that expensive. But so your shower water is filtered and your drinking water is filtered, and that's about what we can do for condos and apartments and RVs and different things like that. Because we can't have it on hot water. It just won't work with hot water. But so that's what we do.
Yeah.
But also too is for acreages and farms is we do a lot of acreages and farms. And so for that, it's not just a standard, it's not just a standard 44-inch unit that we can put on there because every well is different. And so if someone has an acreage, a farm, or they're out on a well system, what they need to do is just send us a well test. We'll read it. We'll see what's needed. And then we'll come back to you and say, here's the system that you need to make your water clean and healthy. Because they're all custom built.
Right. Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And one of the things, and this is what I really like about ours, is that we take care of the customers. We take care of our customers with 100%. That if something got, I put one in, and a month later the guy says my water smells funny. So I went out, changed it out, gave him a brand new one. Now he's fine. I had somebody 3 years into it saying my water smells funny. So we'll either fix it or change it. We'll take care of it and make sure your water is good. Anytime during the life of the lease, anytime, for as long as you have one of our cleaners, you get 100% guarantee that we'll fix it and make it right. And secondly, that if you decide to move, within the area, part of our customer services is we'll move it with you. So you don't have to worry about leaving it or what you got to do, getting a plumber. We'll come in, we'll take it out, and we'll put it in your new house. And all that is covered in our 100% warranty and guarantee.
Cool. Yeah. So you obviously, James, you're based in Calgary, but
I am.
You have water filters, that are installed literally all around the world. And the company's based in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
So depending on where somebody is that might be watching, definitely within Canada, no problem. I'm sure you've got representatives and you can get filters to people throughout Canada. You want to share a little bit more about that?
Certainly. Well, actually, we shipped one somebody asked us to ship one to Ontario last week. I've had calls from Georgia, from Florida. So what we can do is it's very straightforward. Is we can ship it to you, and you can either get a plumber to install it, or we have installation instructions if you want to install it. So it doesn't matter where in the world you are, we can get one of our filters to you that you can install. I put together a package for overseas, for developing countries, and one of the things we put in there is, look, this thing is self-contained, and if it's underwater, it'll still work. It'll still filter water if the whole thing is sunken in water. So that's the nice thing about a sealed container like this. But we can get them, if somebody's watching anywhere, give us a call. We'll figure out a way to get it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Well, how about we wrap up our conversation with how folks can reach you? Give us your website, or if there's a phone number, email, anything like that.
Yeah. Our website is www.northernwatercleaners.com. Our email is calgary@northernwatercleaners.com. And our phone number is 403-708-7213.
Yeah. Okay.
And they can give us a call, give us a text, give us an email. And if you have any questions, by all means,
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Excellent. Well, I'll post that down in the comments as well for folks in case
Sounds
you're
good.
quick enough to write that down. And yeah, what would you like to leave us with? Just final comments here, James.
Well, like your buddy said, if you don't get a filter, you're going to be the filter, you know? And more, and it's interesting. Uh, more and more people from more and more walks of life are getting healthier, are taking more note of their health, and they're moving towards that. Right. And so we're starting to get calls, and I'm sure you see this a lot too, is, somebody you may not think is a health trying to be a healthy person. They actually are, or they may have some reason to do it. But we're finding more and more people are learning more about what's in the water and how that they can make it healthier.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's what we do.
Yeah, good. Well, cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us this evening. And yeah, we'll post your contacts down below if anybody wants to reach out to James to learn more, ask more questions, or go ahead and get something installed on their home. So, like I say, we've really enjoyed it, and yeah. Over the years, I just know it's a very common question that comes up. What can we do about water and filtration systems? So that's why I like to check in with you and just kind of have you share your message and what you're up to with the filter. So thanks for coming on.
Very good. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Malcolm.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Okay. We will talk to you soon.
Bye for now.
Okay.